He'd recently witnessed the birth of his second son, who was severely handicapped, and as a result he had to spend a lot more time at the ranch. Now his son Ben was going through this incredibly intense therapeutic program, which was taking up all of Neil Young's time, and it was the first time probably in his life that he'd ever been taken away from his music. And Ben was doing this kind of what they called this patterning program, which were all these repetitive exercises, and he had to keep doing these repetitive exercises over and over and over and over and over. And strangely, or perhaps not so strangely, that translated weirdly into Neil Young's music. There's a song on Reactor called T-Bone, which is one of the most excruciating Neil Young songs ever recorded, and it's basically Neil Young repeating "Ain't got no T-bone" endlessly until you actually want to string him up. I think it's one of the least loved Neil Young songs, but it is quite amusing apart from that. But Reactor should be reinterpreted. I think it's the birth of grunge.
It's sort of funny, and it's got the ha 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 stuff on it.
Opera Star is a song, if you read the lyrics, is, I think, really autobiographical. It's Neil saying, nobody is gonna make me anything except what I want to be, and no matter what happens, I'm still going to keep doing things the way I want to do.
I think a lot of the kind of big artists of the 70s struggled to find a musical foothold in the 80s because everything changed so dramatically. You know, in the age of MTV, in the age of synthesizers and haircuts and makeup and all of this stuff. And so what Neil did really was just experiment wildly through the 80s. He kept trying on different hats, most of which looked rather silly, you know, and you felt like he lost touch with what, you know, made him great. He couldn't, you know, he couldn't really stay true to his own musical sort of spirit. I think one should applaud anyone who takes risks and tries something different. But with Neil, it's slightly smacked of desperation.
Here's an icon, a legend, you know. You watch him from the Buffalo Springfield days, and when he was a young rocker through The Last Waltz, and when he was on stage, and the stuff that he's gone through, and his kids, and politics, and almost dying in 2005 with the aneurysm. It's quite a legacy. It's quite incredible what this guy has accomplished. Very unique musician who can just, he's like a chameleon that goes through the ages and reacts to the times, and he's quite a stunning performer. He really is.
And he's quite tall, but he's quite ungainly, and he's sort of, you know, hunched over his guitar. And there is a bit of the sort of embarrassing uncle about him. You know, you do sort of want him to behave with a little more dignity. But I mean, actually, I think it's great that he doesn't, because he's so, you know, he gets so into his music, especially, you know, when he's going off on a kind of long guitar solo, you know, that he's just sort of head banging, kind of, you know, stamping his foot and just getting really kind of carried away. He isn't sort of cool, you know. Neil's never been elegantly wasted or super cool, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, what's more important, you know, emotional intensity or sort of, you know, posing. And Neil's never been a poser. I think he's always, you know, he has always come from the gut and from the heart.
Multi-emotionally dimensional. He feels what he plays what he feels. A musician's job is basically to reflect how they feel internally, personally, with the environment around them, people that are associated with that particular musician. He is a magician. He fuses everything. And over the years, he's just never, ever, ever lost his passion. You know, the guy's 60. He still rips it up like a teenager, you know? Just he can almost rip a guitar apart. It's just incredible when you see him play and do a solo. It's absolutely fascinating to watch.